you came from Vegas, I believe, and came into London?
I live in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You came from LA.
I live in LA and I just flew up to Vegas. We met up and flew over here, got in last night.
How are you feeling?
Feel great, little jet lag,
Yeah.
a little bit jet lag, but happy to be here.
Good. Have you been on the coffee all day? And
Yeah. Monster Energy, coffee, anything I can drink.
are there any places when you come to London that you always want to visit while you're here? Any like your favourite restaurants, bars, or hotspots?
Do you have
We
any
went to
favorites?
Big Ben. We went to Parliament. We went to everywhere.
You know, yeah. Usually, when you if you're on tour, you don't get to spend much time in the cities. I mean, typically you go to a mall and then you go back to your hotel room. I actually used to live in London when I was a very young kid. So for me, I've been back a few times, but it's been fun to like go to some of those old places and just these memories from many years ago are coming back. So it's great. London's a fantastic place.
So you kind of feel semi at home when you're here?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Now, you're at a weird point in time now because you've completed the album, but you've got those few weeks left till it's released. Are you feeling nervous? Are you just ready to get it out? What's the main overwhelming feeling?
I feel very comfortable because I know we made the best record that we possibly could. You know, we had a goal, we set out, and I believe we achieved it. And I couldn't be more proud of this record, and I can't wait for people to hear it. So
Yeah, it's exciting, and you know, we were talking about this earlier. How you know, before social media became such a predominant part of everyone's lives, there was much more of that. You know, you set your release date. Nobody's going to hear your songs before then. There's no pirating or torrent sites and stuff. And now, while social media presents a lot of challenges, it's also this great way to stay so connected with your fans that even during the making of the record, you're able to share moments that you weren't able to share before. So that's kind of anxiety or impatience is kind of taken care of. Like, as an example, we've already released 3 songs off of the record, put them out there so that people can start getting a taste of it and start talking about it and getting a feel for just how different this record's going to be. So, you know, we're very excited about October 7th. We're very excited for people to get the whole record, but it's nice to be able to have shared so much of it already.
Do you listen to it back all the time and hear things that you still go, did we do the right thing there? Should we have gone with the other way? Are you all right?
I don't. I mean, every record that we've done, you know, I mean, of course you can always say, yeah, I could have played that maybe a little better or whatever. But, you know, we know when we capture a magical take and we're just like, you know what, I'm proud of everything we've done, so.
I think in this business you learn to avoid those type of what ifs or, oh man, if I could just go back. You know, everything that you do, once you release it, you know, it's out there forever. And so number one, you're very thoughtful about when you're making stuff, when you're creating things. You pay attention to that because you know that. But also, you know, everything is a learning and a growing experience. And if you're always looking back, wanting to change things from the past, well, then chances are you're not even going to fully commit to what you're doing now. So,
and sometimes the imperfections are what make it so perfect, you know.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why people like a live experience sometimes, because things are not so confined and so restricted.
Exactly, and that's why sometimes as a band you hate the live thing, because now it shows up on YouTube the next day, and if you do mess up bad, it's there forever too.
No escaping it.
Right.
That's why we don't play live.
Right.
Now, how about removing the producer head and just listening to it as a musician or a music fan? How hard is that?
You know, that's a great question, and it's just something that as a producer, that's one of the expectations of you as a producer. You have to be able to do that. You have to be able to remove yourself from it. 6 a.m. presents its own challenges, but it's also such a great experience to be able to produce a band like this because you're throwing all the rules out. You're exploring, you're experimenting, you're doing things, and then the musicianship of the band is so strong that, you know, really the sky's the limit. Keeping a perspective is something that you do no matter what your role is. You have to keep a perspective. You have to always be aware of how what you're doing is going to be perceived. So it's challenging, but it's really just kind of goes with the territory. It's expected of us.
Now, in terms of the experience in the studio and writing the songs, you said that it should always just be friends having a laugh. I think you've said that in an interview. Was it like that on this occasion? Was it quite relaxed?
Every time we get together. Yeah. I mean, we've laughed our way through every record. And like we talked about before, we touch on some really serious issues. And I think that's part of the way we cope with it, because, you know, Heroin Diaries wasn't easy for any of us to get through because we all related to those songs in different ways. And that was a heavy record as far as, you know, some of the issues and topics that we talked about. And we kind of tend to do that on every album, kind of touch on stuff that normally isn't so easy to talk about. So I think laughing through the records is half of the reason that we get through the records, you know. So
it'd be heavy going otherwise.
It'd be pretty depressing.
When you play the songs live that are quite heavy topics, do you go back to the thing that inspired it when you play it, or do you have to kind of go on autopilot to get through it?
I think that you know, performing stuff live, and 6 AM has done very little of it. We only really toured on the first record, but at that point you are really feeding off of the energy of the crowd. So it's a new experience for us. It's neat. Even if you're playing the songs over and over and over, it's always a new experience. And I think that we hope that when people listen to the records, that it's always a new experience for them too. You know, you hear a song once and you pick up on certain things, then you hear it again and you pick up on other things, then you hear it again and it means something totally different to you. So it's this ever-evolving thing, and so is live performance.
Do you find it fascinating to find out how different people interpret the songs you've made and the different things they hear in them?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, some of the most memorable times in 6 AM was when we did do the 2 months of touring on Crew Fest. I mean, how Life is Beautiful touched people was unbelievable, because I mean, I had big bikers, like Hell's Angel type looking dudes coming up and crying on my shoulder, and it was just so overwhelming to see how, you know, one song can touch so many people. So, yeah.
Do you feel a pressure then to kind of have real meaning in every song? Have there ever been a track where you thought, this is just a fun, simple track, and you thought, actually, we need to put something more deep into it?
I wouldn't say pressure. I think it's a... you know, we have the luxury of knowing that our songs are going to be heard, so we see it as a real opportunity, you know. And I think that whatever it is we do, whatever it is we create, we make sure that it's thoughtful. But I don't think that's pressure. That's just something that we expect of ourselves. And we see it as just, you know, a great opportunity to always be pushing ourselves as far as messages go, musically. We're the luckiest band in rock and roll.
It's not a bad life, is it?
Not at all.
Now, Stars, I think you said, is one of the best songs you've ever written. Do you get an instinct when you write those songs, like immediately going, oh, this one feels a bit different, this one feels special?
Well, I said that about Stars, and I think that what I love about Stars is that, to me, it sums up everything that 6 AM does and is known for, and it kind of does it on a heightened level. But I would say that, you know, it's one in a long list of things that I'm very proud of about 6 AM. I think that you could go song for song, and there are moments of each one that I think are you know, just so special, and that I'll always be proud of.
What about you? Is there one that stands out for you on the record?
Yeah, absolutely. Stars is probably one of my, you know, favorite ones off the album. You know, for so many reasons. The whole message, the guitars were a lot of fun to kind of come up with and create, and you know, it's just like James said, it's just straightforward, kick your ass rock and roll, which is great. You know, I mean, Stars kind of has it all in it. So
it's very epic, isn't it? You kind of feel like you need to throw your arms up or do something really.
That was the interesting thing about that song, because at its heart, it's a love song. And if you were to just read those lyrics, you could very easily, and you didn't know what the music was, you could think, well, this is going to be a ballad. So when we started recording that song, we knew that it had to feel like an anthem. We knew it had to feel like a stadium rock song. And when we first started recording, I think the first couple of vocal takes that I did, I sang it more intimately. I sang it more like a ballad, and it worked. but you just didn't get that stadium in your head. You didn't get that vision of a stadium performance. So then I went back and re-sang it kind of as though there was a full band from the very beginning, even though there wasn't. And that was when, for me, it really clicked. Like DJ's opening guitar on that song is just, from the minute he first did it, I could hear it echoing off the back of a huge stadium, and that's what it's always represented to me.